How you guys doing? My name is Jesse Wright. I'm on the Fins Pro staff. I just want to do a quick video on the Fins braided fishing lines. I do a lot of freshwater and saltwater fishing, so I get to have a choice between 4 different braids on what I want to use. The first one that I use mainly for bass fishing is the Fins XS. It's an 8 carrier spectra fiber fishing line. Basically, all your other braids, when you feel that line, you can feel the braid. You can actually feel it woven into one main line. The XS is super smooth. It's like a monofilament feel to it. It lays on the reel really well, casts a mile, and it's probably the most durable line that I have ever used when it comes to bass fishing. And I'm using a 50-pound because I'm fishing in areas that are filled with lily pads, really thick matted areas with heavy hydrilla. And you hook, say, even a 4-pound fish, anything lighter than a 50-pound braid, it's not going to come out. You're going to be catching that fish along with 30 to 40 pounds of weeds trying to pull that fish out. That's why I'm using that 50-pound XS. I've never had any issues with it. The line stays green. It doesn't, bleach out after, a lot of usage. I've had it on my reel for, say, 2.5 months right now, and it's by far just an unbelievable fishing line. Like I said, no issues. Line lace found the reel, cast a mile. Even with all the lily pads and everything, it's basically like on a lily pad, the stems are like shark teeth going the opposite way, or like the skin of a shark. And the fishing line isn't even getting frayed up or anything like that. I'm using it with like my frogs for flipping, throwing big worms in the pads. No issues whatsoever. Definitely look into that if you're doing a lot of flipping, throwing frogs for bass fishing. My second line that I like to use, mainly for my inshore stuff, the original PRT. It's a 4-weave spectra fiber, and it's just an all-around great fishing line. It's flexible, it can cast a mile, it lays on my spinning reel's fine. I don't get wind knots, no tip wraps, nothing like that. It's just a great line. I'm using this is the 7-pound right here. I'm using it on my 3000 Daiwas. This is the 7-pound on that one. I got 7-pound on 2, and then I got the other one with 10-pound PRT, all white line, just so I don't have to worry about the line bleaching out eventually or anything like that. It doesn't really matter what color fishing line you use. If you're fishing for snook, redfish, trout, whatever, you're going to be using a 3 to 4 foot section of fluorocarbon leader, so they're not going to see your line at all. It's a great line. I've never had issues with it with fraying or getting cut off or anything like that. So great. It's great against abrasion. Never had any issues with breaking off. It's just if you're just wanting a braid that's going to do everything that you want, the PRT is going to be your choice. The other lines Fins has is the shock absorbing and the wind tamer. The wind tamer is going to be your beginner's braid. If you're used to using monofilament and everything, and you're switching over to braid, try the wind tamer. Basically, because it's going to reduce all your wind knots. It's a more stiff braided line. It's 4-weave spectra fiber. It's a little bit tighter weave than, say, your PRT, and it just casts a mile. It casts probably further than any other braid I've ever used before. It does stay stiff for a little bit longer just to help you with getting used to using braided lines. Abrasion resistance, great. It's almost exactly like the original PRT, just a little bit more stiff, so you don't get as many wind knots, hence the name wind tamer. If you're fishing in high winds, that's the line I would choose. The fourth and final braid is the shock absorbing. Basically, it has a strand of Dacron on it, which gives it a little bit more stretch to it. Braids don't stretch at all. Mono does. Some guys that go offshore, they want a braid that can stretch a little bit, and that's what that shock absorbing is going to do. It has 10% stretch compared to your original PRT. And this is a great line that you can use. If you're flipping, you want that little bit of stretch in there. Even throwing a frog, you can also do that as well. A lot of the offshore guys use it for deep dropping. They still get that thin diameter with the braid. They're still getting that little bit of stretch with that line. If you guys are looking for a new line to use, you got to check out Fins. Go to their website. You can also go on Facebook and find me on there if you have any questions at all, or you can also write me on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps for you guys.